So Cornell Notes, something that we've implemented in the maths department at Shire Oak, and it's been part of my NPQSL project as well. And so the reason why we decided to use Cornell Notes within the maths department, part of my research that I did for the NPQSL project, was that we felt that students didn't have the ability or the knowledge, or be able to retain the knowledge to be able to actually access independent and challenging work. They were struggling to access it. They said that they didn't remember things, that they didn't have any notes they could use. They were to rely on asking teachers to do the work for them. And then when you said, oh, but we went through this last week, they looked back in their books and all they had was like a page of numbers and nothing could sort of help them. So we wanted to sort of set the foundations for independent work. We wanted to think about developing their organisational skills. We also wanted to encourage metacognition, which is something that Shire Oak are focusing on an awful lot this year, and getting students to think about how they're learning and what they need to write down to make sure that they're learning well. And also key things was to help them with their revision techniques, because if they have something in front of them, they could help them to look over key points that they would be able to revise for assessments, but also to have things to hand so they can look back through their books. Mark. I chose Cornell Notes because it's something that there's been an awful lot of research on in both the UK and the US, and also some local schools, not within our map, but within another teaching map, use them across the entire school. So there's a lot of research out there about Cornell Notes, and there's high expectations within them of both presentation and note taking, annotations being really key point with it. It's easy to prepare, but it gets both high and quick results, because by the end of a couple of lessons, both staff and students can see exactly what difference it's made to them. It gets students to repeat key points, so it helps to combat the forgetting curve. It's easy for them to locate key points. If they're revising or they want to use information to help them with challenging questions, they can look at where the key points are and find it really easily. It gets students thinking explicitly about how they learn and what they need to write down to what they learn. And the life at the bottom is a pixel edge thing that we use in Shire Oak, but it's basically saying that it helps with their organisation skills. And it's an intangible that they can do not just in school, but they can also carry forward as they move on later on in life, when they move to university or when they move into apprenticeships or jobs. They've got skills that they can actually take with them. What Cornell Notes looks like, just in case anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, basically students split their pages up into 3 main areas. So they've got the big area, which is where they take their notes. So for us in maths, they have the example, but they annotate their examples instead of just sitting there watching what a teacher's doing or blindly just copying lists of numbers off the board. They're actually annotating everything in their own words. So they're thinking about what they need to write down to help them to remember the methods. The margin is a key point, key points, keywords, any comments. So it's repeating the keywords, repeating the key points, making it so it's easy for them to find. And then we don't use a summary box at the end of every page, we use a summary box at the end of every taught lesson. So it might not be at the end of every hour, it might be at the end of every 2 hours, depending on how long the lesson lasts for. But the summary is the key point, the key learning point of what the student has done in that topic. Not whether they've done well, but what the key point is about that topic. I'm implementing it from September in the maths department here, and these are a few of the things that our faculty think. So I'm not going to read through them all, but some of the key points that people said was that it was an improved presentation for students. Students have taken a lot more care and a lot more effort into their works. It helps students to think about what they needed to write down, because if they couldn't do the questions, then they were then encouraged to think about why they couldn't do the questions and what they needed to write down the next time to do it, and then they could update their notes there and then. It was a consistent structure, so it helped SEND students, also helps with boys, but it's also there for HPA students, because actually they really thrive on it as well, so it covers all the main sort of groups of students that we're trying to target. They take ownership of their own learning, they can see the benefits of it really quickly. But the big key thing for me when I'm doing my quality assurance is that students have something that's written in their book so that they can do the work. So instead of saying to the staff, how do I factorise this quadratic, they look back through their own notes that they've made in their own words, so that they can use the techniques to help them. And I've just put on the next couple of slides some examples of what our students' work actually looks like. So these are mid-ability students. These are 3s, I believe. This is set 1. This is a before and after, so that you can see the difference in the note taking that the students do. I don't know how clear they are for you to see because they're probably quite small, but I can share the presentation with Ben afterwards so that you can actually have a closer look at them. A few more, Mark, just so you can see. So you can see that some students turn the books on the side and write notes and key points on the side, but the students are using highlighters so that it's easy for them to identify the key skills. One book in here is a Set 7 Year 11 student, so an SEND student, and I know it's on this slide, but I'm not sure whether it's easy to work out which one it is. Apart from the fact that obviously the work is easier, but actually in terms of the presentation and the pride this bottom set child would put into them, it's I think it's pretty impressive. So that's basically what Cornell Notes is. And for us, it's worked absolute wonders in terms of our students' confidence and how they're engaged in lessons. And I just wanted to share it with everybody across the management that you might want to think about introducing. And if you do, feel free to. I'll share the presentation with Ben, and then Ben can share it out to anybody who's interested. But feel free to drop me an email, and I will talk to you happily for hours about Cornell Notes because I am very, very much into them at the moment as well.